Hello, my lovely writers. I thought you might like to have a little tea time visit so you can see everyone having their tea. We're in a state of deep contentment. You can hear I'm a tiny bit breathless because I have been bustling about. And as I've been bustling, I've been thinking of what I could usefully give you. I've been talking a lot about the foundations, about the thing behind the thing, about the way you think about your writing, about the preparation, about just giving yourself a really good start. And all of that is psychological. This is the mind stuff. There is going to be a point where you're going to need to know a few technical things, no question. I'm not very interested in that. It's not fascinating. But the biggest mistake I see is people immediately start talking about things which are way down the line. So they'll ask about structure or character arcs or, narrative drive or dialogue, something really quite specific. Or they'll ask about getting published, getting an agent. What's the state of publishing these days? I saw a brilliant thing the other day about the state of publishing, and it was so funny. But someone wrote this incredibly long essay on Substack. I mustn't laugh. It's just because I'm nearly 60. So you get to this age and you've seen everything go round and come round again. So I'm laughing in that you then see a 30-something writing about the state of publishing and they go, the mid-list is a disaster and only 3 or 4 publishers, 3 or 4 writers earn out their advance and, about 1 writer actually can make a living for it. And this was all presented as if it was tremendously new. I remember in the 80s, everyone was in a panic about the mid-list. The fact is, Bean, excusez-moi, thank you. The truth is that making a living as a writer has always been difficult. T.S. Eliot worked in a bank, for God's sake, probably the greatest poet of the 20th century. Scott Fitzgerald sold his soul to the movies and to the Saturday Evening Post with short stories. Trollope worked at the post office. He wrote every morning for about 3 hours. He'd get up at about 5:30. He'd write till 8:30. He'd stop when he was in the middle of a sentence, and then he'd go off and invent the postbox. He didn't quite invent the postbox. He sort of slightly adapted it from somewhere else. But the pillar boxes you see today that you put your letters in, if you're British, that was Trollope. And my God, he was prolific. Dickens worked as a journalist and went on endless lecture tours. This idea that somehow there were these great writers in the past who could just swan about and make a fortune from their work it's a fantasy. So don't worry if you hear people saying, the mid-list. The mid-list has always been in terrible trouble. We're going to have an argument now, are we? Okay, everybody. I can't be bothered to break that up. Have each other's food, honestly. So, yes, this is important to know. There are 2 people who make a living from their writing, and both of them are called Stephen King. Seriously. So we don't think about it like that. Don't think about how do I get an agent? How do I get a publisher? What do I do about the mid-list? Think about, do you love writing for its own sake? Do you love it enough to get really good at it? Because if you want to get as good as you need to be, to feel fabulous about yourself, to feel satisfied, to feel proud of yourself, you're going to have to work really hard, just like anything. If you were to pick up a ukulele tomorrow and decide that you were going to learn to play the ukulele, my niece does amazing things with ukuleles, you would have to start at the beginning. You'd have to play scales and arpeggios, and you'd have to learn the fingering, and you'd have to do the, chords, and then you become a little 3-chord wonder, and you'd have to learn about strumming, and then you'd have to learn how to strum and to sing at the same time. You're not just going to pick up a ukulele and be George Formby. Sorry, I'm a little bit antic today, you can probably tell. but I am seeing a lot of nonsense running around in the wild. And that's part of the reason I come back to this YouTube, because of the nonsense. If you want to become a bestseller, if you think you can earn a living through writing, don't listen to me. Seriously, I'm not being funny. I'm not being passive aggressive. I have no idea how you make a living from writing. What I do know is that you can create an incredible life with writing as a part of it. And the most satisfying way to do that is to get really good at your craft. And the most satisfying way and the most straightforward way and the most successful way to get good at your craft is to clear away all the mental clutter first. So that's why I talk on and on about being in it for the right reasons, about understanding what you want for, from, and with your writing, about reading like a crazy person. If you don't love to read, you'll never love to write. About constantly taking yourself back to the beginning. About doing the right things in the right order. Don't rush away into the middle of an epic historical novel until you have laid your foundations deep. Have you got your logistics square? Have you got enough time in the week? I'm constantly making lists of the hours that I need and the hours that I can spare and the hours that I can dig out with a spoon. So this is a bit of a naughty video because I've wandered about. I probably, if I was being terribly sensible, I'd choose one specific subject every week and speak to that and give you things in order. This is not that kind of channel. It's, if you want to hear somebody who's done it, who's been round the block, who really cares about the language and about sentences and about not phoning it in, not cutting corners, about doing some justice to this incredible gift that we writers have been given, which is the capacity to write in the English language. I'm sure other languages are glorious to write into. I don't have experience of those. And I'm not saying that for the sake of inclusion and diversity. I mean, I genuinely am aware that you can write beautiful things in French and Italian and Serbo-Croat and, 47 other languages. But the one I love and know is English. And we have some great writers who wrote beautiful things in that language. So that's what we're talking about. That's what we're doing justice to. That's what is making us lift our eyes to the hills, wherein comes our inspiration. Have a happy weekend, my darlings. This was a bit of a ramble. I'll try and be a bit more focused next week. How about that for a plan?